Hello, Dan Fitz here. Had a much needed break from, well, I left my computer at home before I left for the airport, so yeah. Anyway, I did have my phone and I had a lot of questions about fitness, health, confidence, dealing with men's mental health issues. But what I did have more of was, Dan, there's trannies reading books to my kids. They're offering sex changes to my 7-year-old in school, and if I say anything, I'll lose custody of my kid. Why are they printing more money? What am I going to do about this digital dollar? Well, I'll give you the answer to all these questions in an easy to understand way. Alright, let's do it. Once upon a time, I had a real job. I've had many real jobs, because that's how you sound when you say it. What's wrong, mate? You got something to say? Come here. Want to do a cameo? Come on. Little Steven. Alright, Steven's going to do this with me. Alright, so I had a real job, didn't I, Steven? I used to drive a forklift, drive trucks in a lumberyard. And I'd been at this place for about 2 to 3 months. I was still relatively new, but because I was always hardworking, punctual, got by on my good looks, I was doing quite well at this place. I enjoyed the work. Through a chance of fate, or maybe the guys just had a bender on the same night, the foreman and the main assistant both didn't show up one day, so it's just me operating the whole yard. Now mind you, I'm there 2-3 months. Without both or either of them, I would really struggle not knowing what to do, how to do it, communicate with the trucks coming in and out. So needless to say, without the two guys there, it's very hard for me to get anything done. As I was kind of standing there in frustration, confusion, still trying to do the best I could, the owner of the place came out and basically gave it to me, blasted me, said, "Fucking why isn't this done? Why are you doing that? Blah, blah, blah." Spoke to me like shit. Obviously knowing that both the two guys that had been there for years, knew how to do everything, were kind of... You still want to sit here? Okay. Not taking into consideration these two guys weren't there, I was new, doing my best, doing the work of 3 men. Thought saying, "What are you fucking doing? Blah, 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 this should be done, that should be done." And then stormed back into the office. Now, me being me, I've always been me, stood there for a brief moment. Oh, get out of here. He knows I'm about to get upset. I stood there for a brief moment and thought, alright. I walked into the office and I said, "Don't you ever fucking speak to me like that again. Here's my 2 weeks notice. I won't leave right now because I'm the only guy here. Here's my 2 weeks notice. Don't you ever fucking speak to me like that again." And I walked out. I was courteous enough to give the guy 2 weeks. And as I went back to work, he came, he's like, "Oh, Danny, I'm sorry I spoke to you like that." Like, you know? No, I don't know. You're supposed to be the captain of the ship. You're supposed to be the boss. Like, I'm the only guy here, like, under the pump, and you speak to me like shit. Because if you let someone treat you, do something, violate your rights, so to speak, shit test you, as we call that in prison, if someone does something to you and you don't do anything to counteract it, to say that's not okay, they keep doing it, they keep taking shit. What's going to happen in the last 2 years? Like, closing down your business, making you wear a mask, making you take things to keep your job that isn't now important anymore for some reason. I mean, we all know what was done to us, what we accepted, what we shouldn't have accepted, and that was their way of shit testing you. Unfortunately for most of us, if not all of us, many of you, not me, many of you accepted it, took it, and failed the test, therefore showing our leaders, controllers, lawmakers, people who are capable of doing terrible things to us at any given time for any given reason, like pushing transsexuals, men dressed as women, sexualized men dressed as women, reading books about sexuality in primary school, in your kid's school. That is now happening, and you're probably allowing that to happen too, if you even know about it. You have green-lighted these people to crash your economy, corrupt your culture and society, and basically destroy anything you may have called freedom, future, or something worth living for. I mean, obviously, anything and all of it could be stopped at any given time. If, like me, when it happens to you, you walk into the office, like you watched me for 2 years, and you all thought I was crazy, calling the health minister of every state, calling the premier of every state, calling the prime minister, all of them multiple times expressing my thoughts, my opinions, the facts, how it was a violation of the law, how we won't accept it. I mean, I couldn't speak on the country's behalf, and most of you are too gutless to do it, so kind of made me a conspiracy theorist or a religious extremist or a neo-Nazi. So I look like the bad, not the people shutting down your business, not the people making you wear a mask, not the people taking, you gonna do a cameo? That's what I thought. I'm the bad guy now, all of a sudden. I'm the racist homophobe who wants the transsexuals to leave your kids alone, who wants the corrupt criminals to stop printing money and devaluing your currency and selling your land to foreign entities. I mean, I could get started on what's coming, I could get started on what's written in laws and legislation, but this video is simply to say, to answer your fucking question, when something happens to you that you don't accept, you don't accept it. And either through written word, spoken word, or just getting in someone's fucking face like I did and say, don't you ever fucking speak to me like that again. Here's my 2 weeks notice. Oh, Dan, I need my job. I needed that fucking job too, dickhead. But it's funny what pressure, it's funny what having nothing to lose will make you do. I thought, well, I don't like getting spoken to like this, and I have an opportunity to work at that gym like I've always wanted to do. I need to make that work. If I'm leaving this in 2 weeks, I guess I'll make it work. What if it doesn't work? What if you have to work 55 hours a week to live at a bare minimum, below average, borderline developing country standard of living? 55 hours a week. You don't get to retire until you're 82. If you even lived that long from all the poisonous shots you've taken over those years. And that whole time you drive to work, you see rainbow flags everywhere. And you need to high-five the flamboyant, transsexual, H&R person at work. And if you don't high-five them, you're homophobic and you get fired. And as you drive home in your hybrid electric car, if you're fortunate enough to still have gasoline by then, because you watch too much television on the weekend, you are not permitted to use your central bank digital currency to buy fuel. If you've gone over your carbon credit limit, this is actually happening in real time. Because all those times, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, oh, this is a bloody outrage. What are you going to do about it? I'm going to vote for the other guy that's doing the same thing. They just take turns at fucking us. Oh, that's a good plan. How's that working out? Not great. That's simply my answer. It's up to you. It's up to all of us. That's why they divide us into black, white, homosexual, straight, gay, left, right. Like, if they keep us divided, fighting amongst ourselves, we don't see the very person creating the problems and solving them are the two very main. Isn't it funny? In almost every country that has democracy, there's really only two major political parties, and the story is about the same. Oh, when the other guy was in, it wasn't like this. I can't wait till that other guy's in so he fixes it, and then that guy gets in and like the other part of the population starts saying, oh, when this guy was in, it wasn't like this. What's that saying? Politics is just acting, or Hollywood. Politics is Hollywood for ugly people. It's just a show. It's just a facade. It's just Plato's cave. It's just good timing. It's like shadows. They're going to do what they always plan to do. But if they told you outright what they were going to do, and there's only one person, because they do tell you outright months in advance, you'd be outraged. You'd do something about it. But now you're so poisoned by food, water, media, that even if it does bother you, you do fuck all except message me on social media and say, what should we do about this? You don't comply. That's it. You say no. You have the God-given gift of free will. You need to use it. You lose what you don't use. Oh, I don't believe in that man in the sky. How's that working out for you, Gerald? Gerald? Oh yeah, he told me last week that his sixth booster must have died suddenly. Anyway, I'm Dan Fitz. That's how you fix things. You just say no. And if no doesn't work, you impose your will in any way, shape or form. I'm not saying go out and hurt people or break the law, not at all. But if these people are hurting you and breaking the law or changing the law so they can hurt you, how long are you going to accept it for? Because sooner or later there's going to be no one to complain to. Because the people like me who stand up and do something and say something, talking is now a crime. Spreading conspiracies that are factual truths, questioning the agenda or a political party is now a crime in Australia. I'm Dan Fitz. What you do with that information is up to you. Godspeed. God bless. Isn't it funny, once upon a time, a shirt like this would be considered homosexual. At least he worries now.